Thanks so much for tuning into the first. Hopefully we continue to present some interesting topics for you. And again, please feel free to give us your ideas and requests.
Yeah, we had some really interesting feedback, which was cool. A lot of people that were excited about it, which, is always exciting for us. Like a little bit surprised and excited, but that's what this is for, is to create conversation and discussion. And so thanks so much for tuning in again to us. So we're going to structure the podcast by first talking a little bit about what we did this week, as well as answer any questions from last week's episode. And then we're going to get into our hot topic today.
Awesome. So the last week was more exciting personally for me than professionally. I ended
on vacation.
Yes.
Again.
A holiday. I had a friend come visit from back home, and we ended up doing a little road trip to Canmore, Moraine Lake, and Lake Louise, which was beautiful in the fall. Soaked up a little bit of large season, did a little bit of hiking and relaxing, so it was really nice. And then I came back home, and Michelle and I recently joined a pickleball league. So we play every Sunday, which is exciting. We had a little less successful of a week this week.
We started off the season a little hot, and I think we got a little confident. And then, we got put in our place last night, so that's always good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next week, hopefully, will be a little bit better. What'd you get up to, Michelle?
I'm like Kelsey. I was here slaving away at work. No. I actually, one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about that I had the opportunity to do this week was to try a new product out. And so we have, and I'm not sure how many of you guys have tried it yet or have even heard of it, but it's a new neurotoxin on the market, and it's called Letybo or Letybo. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. But it was kind of exciting to try it out. We have to do a little bit more research on it, but it's something that we are now carrying here at Rejuviderm. And we're going to hopefully cover it more extensively when we have a little bit more clinical knowledge of it, as well as we're going to research the product a little bit more. We can give you a little bit more evidence-based information on it. And we're curious if you guys have any experience with it, please let us know.
Yeah, we'll be able to show you some before and afters of staff that were first trialing the product out on. And so far, it's been really great results. So we'd love to hear your experience with it.
Yeah, I actually had it used on me, and it was very interesting, the results. It actually kicked in the quickest out of anything that I've used in the past. Yeah, and we carry 4 different brands here as well. So if you ever come in and get treatment, definitely ask us about why we would choose a certain brand over the other and what might work best for you.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, we can cover in a future topic. Kind of an interesting take to compare the different neurotoxins subjectively and clinically. So stay tuned.
Yeah. So as far as last week, we had some really great comments on our podcast. So thank you very much for that. And we'll be sure to continue to work on a little bit of the
video
aspect of it, the technical aspect of it. It's not our strong suit, but we will continue to get better at that. I did have a question for you that someone sent to me, and it was about the blending of the product. So just a little bit of a refresh. We chatted about hand filler last week, and Kelsey demonstrated doing hand filler on someone. And so the question was about blending the products. What product did you use again?
We used Silk by Galderma, which again we talked about in our podcast, you can refer to, but it's a very soft moldable product, which is something you're looking for in the hands. We kind of gave you recommendations on different brands that you can use in the hands and which product of that brand would be most suitable for hand filler, but the product we used in the video was Silk. And the question I think Michelle got was about blending the product. So I used saline, and I did a 1-to-1 blend. So in the patient we had discussed was much younger, so we just started with half a syringe on each hand. And then so we blended it 1 cc of saline with 1 cc of Silk, the filler, and then used half of the
How did you
total
decide to use 1 cc of saline to blend?
Yes, so that's usually where I'll start with the hand filler, is 1-to-1, but you can do less, or some people would do more, but I feel like it gives you a little bit more volume and a little bit more moldability when you're putting it in the hand to move the product within the hand, but still gives you very beautiful results with the filler. You're not diluting it too much where you're not seeing enough of a result of the actual hyaluronic acid product. So that's usually where I'll start, is 1-to-1 in the hand.
Amazing.
Awesome. So we're going to move on to today's topic of the podcast. The way we're hoping to do the podcast is by focusing on different elements of the industry each podcast episode. So last week we did a little bit more skill-based for fellow injectors, but also for patients. One request we've received is now to talk a little bit more about a trend or topic in the industry. So today's just going to be a little bit more discussion-based. So the request we had was to talk about tips for injectors. So something that's kind of been, from what I've seen on social media and online, has become a little bit of a hot topic right now, and something that we're kind of moving a little bit through in our clinic here as well.
I'm sure that some of you have noticed when you go to clinics, to med spas, or derm laser clinics, that there's now a tip function option. And I've had a few questions about it, and honestly, to be extremely transparent, I'm not sure how I necessarily felt about the option coming into our clinic here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what the expected industry standards are. When you go to a restaurant, it's kind of standard to tip somewhere between 18 to 20% for good service. And so if you think about that when you come into cosmetics, does that translate into this industry? Is kind of the main question that people have. And if they tip too little, is it, they're feeling a little bit self-conscious about the tipping amount. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about it from our perspective, and then definitely this is something to open up because we are by no means experts in this. This is new to us, but I think it's an important topic to discuss.
Yeah. So like Michelle mentioned, this has become a bit of a new topic in the industry. So this again is solely our opinions. It's not research based or expert opinion by any means, but just things that we've been experiencing. So one thing personally I've noticed is I feel that it is warranted in certain providers and services within the clinic, but not necessarily required in others. So for example, personally, in my opinion, medical estheticians, definitely there can be a component there for tipping, but again, it doesn't have to be an 18 to 20% tip as you would at a restaurant.
I would
for
actually
good
say
service.
that it shouldn't be. I think that is getting too high.
Yes.
So say you come in for a hydrofacial and you sit and it's very relaxing, and the provider can make the experience either really positive and relaxing, or they can just do the job and get it over and done with. And so I think that there is room there to kind of to tip and to show gratitude for different things, just like if you go for a massage or a manicure pedicure type idea. But when you're doing, Kelsey and I were cosmetic injectors, so it's a little bit different when you come in for a Botox treatment or you come in for a lip filler or something like that, that it's not really
required.
I
I don't think it's a mandatory thing, and my concern with this in the industry is that our background is as medical providers. So we're registered nurses, we're nurse practitioners, we're physicians. We are expected to provide the same care to every patient, regardless of compensation, which we do naturally. And I don't feel that it is expected that you tip us for those services. These are medical services you're getting. However, some people feel like they want to show their gratitude and do so, which is always appreciated but not required.
Yeah, of course, if someone goes over and above, and if you want to show your appreciation, then absolutely, I think that's really nice, and that's a nice way to do it. So if you are going to do it, the industry standard really is just giving something a little bit extra. Just saying, hey, I recognize that I had a really great treatment, you were extremely professional, answered all my questions, or whatever it may be the reason why, and to give a smaller donation. But it's not anywhere near the 20% range.
No.
Especially because cosmetic services are pretty expensive. And already when you come, you should expect to get a premium treatment and receive that from us, because we are at, a large derm center. We have a lot of education backing us, and that's what you can expect when you come in. And so when we deliver that, if you wanted to, show your appreciation, absolutely. But I would say, and how we have it set up here in Rejuviderm, is there's small donation amounts that you can choose from if you so decide to leave a tip.
Right. But again, there is no requirement to do so. Do not feel obligated to do so, especially, as Michelle stated, at such a high amount, because, like she said, these services are costly on their own, and we know a lot of people, especially right now with the economy, are budgeting for these services in themselves, and then maybe are putting themselves above and beyond what they can afford by feeling obligated to tip at a certain percentage, which ends up being quite a large amount. Yeah. So we don't want you to feel like that, and I don't think most providers would want their patients to feel obligated to do so. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from this topic. Again, it's a shorter topic, but the biggest takeaway is do what you are comfortable with, do what's within your means financially, and do not feel any obligation or pressure to do so in this industry.
Yeah. And one question I had specifically from one of my patients is they felt, I left, it was like I think it was like $10 for a treatment, and they went home and they felt very guilty about, maybe it wasn't enough, and maybe that was a bit of a a bit of a diss to us as injectors, that they didn't give like the 20%, and that's absolutely not the case. Everything is extremely, we're very grateful and appreciative of everything, but you absolutely do not need to do it. And but yeah, and the thing is too is that with the tip money, I know that a lot of places do this, but we also give a portion to our front end staff, which is nice, because then it's not just, you're not just tipping us, you're also tipping just for the experience. Which is great.
Right.
Yeah. Another idea that I do have, if you don't feel like you can tip because things can be expensive, is that word of mouth or Google reviews are really like such a great way to show your appreciation, or to share and spread the word that maybe you had a really great experience, and that would be that's also that's 100%. Really really appreciated for sure.
I think referrals and positive words in this community mean so much, and they also bring clients into the clinics and us as injectors, which is very appreciated. And the biggest compliment we can receive is when you're letting people and care about know about us and come in to see us. So that's a huge thing in itself, and always appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. Today was a little bit of a shorter discussion topic. Please feel free to leave any comments, questions, suggestions, requests for topics below, or message either of us directly or on our Instagram account for the Injector Diaries. We already have our topic picked out for next week, and it's a little bit more skills-based again, so we're kind of going to alternate between the two. So we look forward to seeing you then and from hearing from you guys. Have a great week.